In this AMA video, I'm going to talk about email deliverability, particularly related to Mailchimp. So I was asked a question this week from one of my AMA subscribers about Mailchimp's cleared status. So when their subscribers are cleared, what does that mean? And how do you ensure that they are receiving your emails? So email deliverability is quite a big topic really, but I just want to kind of give you an overview of Mailchimp's different options of what they have in terms of the people on your list, give you some ideas of why they fall into the cleared category, and then some ideas on what you do in order to keep those contacts real and relevant. So the first thing about email deliverability is there are so many pieces and elements that go into deciding whether a particular email you send actually reaches the inbox of the person that you have sent it to. There's quite a lot involved in that process. So there's quite a few pieces to it. So a lot of it isn't necessarily on, some of it's on the Mailchimp side or the Aweber side, or, you know, if you're using a particular email sending option, but some of it is also on the recipient side in terms of the settings that they have and the mailbox size that they've got and things like that. So there's lots of settings and elements and things that are involved in email deliverability. So let's get started with the different categories, different contexts that Mailchimp use. So they have subscribed contacts, which are obviously people who have opted in to receive your email marketing, and they will maybe from one of your landing pages or sign up forms. You can equally add them manually one-to-one, but they are ultimately the people who have signed up and you have permission to send email marketing to. So they'll receive all the different types of marketing. They then have unsubscribed, which is people who have opted out and said, please don't send me any more emails. They will still receive sort of transactional notifications. So if they bought something and you had an email going out after they've purchased, they'd still receive that, but they wouldn't receive any marketing emails because they've unsubscribed from your list. The next one is non-subscribed. These ones are people who you have interacted with, but they've opted out of receiving marketing emails. So they will get things like any ads or the transactional emails that I was talking about, but they've said no to the marketing emails. So if you send a newsletter out, then they won't receive that, and they're called non-subscribed. And the difference between them and unsubscribed is they've said yes, they've interacted with you, but they've just said no, I don't want the marketing stuff. Where the unsubscribed have opted out, they've said no, so they're unsubscribed. Cleaned. Now, cleaned is how Mailchimp look after your contacts, because ultimately we want to make sure that you've got a good list of people who are engaged, who've asked for your content, who are the right people. So they have something called cleaned, which is hard bounces and soft bounces, which I will go into and explain the difference. But basically, for some reason, they are people where their emails are not going through, they are moved into cleaned to keep your email list of the people that you're contacting nice and updated and relevant. So if you have those people on your subscribed list, for example, and you keep sending emails, but it's bouncing, i.e. it's not getting through to them, then that would affect the quality of your email deliverability. So what Mailchimp do is they move those people into a cleaned list, so that the people who are all your messages are going out to are all sort of signed up and interested people. They also have a pending option, which is people who have done a sign up form, but they haven't confirmed their opt-in. So if for any reason you have a double opt-in and they have subscribed, but they've not kind of confirmed it, then they will be pending. And they also have archived, which is people who have been removed from your marketing audience. So you will retain that data, but you could edit their information, but they won't be counted in terms of your list numbers and won't be sent any information. So that's all the kind of different options. In terms of hard and soft bounces, a hard bounce is where it's a permanent reason why that email has not been delivered. So anybody that's had a hard bounce, it could be that you've spelt something wrong in the email address. So if you spell Yahoo wrong or something, then it would hard bounce because it won't get through because the email address isn't correct. Or the email address doesn't exist anymore. So if somebody's changed their email address and that email address doesn't exist anymore, then it will hard bounce. It also is soft bounces. So soft bounces indicate a temporary reason why that deliverability is an issue. There's a number of reasons for that. Things like mailbox file size. So if they've maxed out their mailbox, they would soft bounce. If they have the message is too large, so the email message is too large to send through to that inbox, then it would soft bounce. If they have got settings, like the email is blocked due to the recipient's settings, or there's something called DMARC, D-M-A-R-C, and that doesn't like email addresses. So if you're sending from Mailchimp and your email address is at hotmail.co.uk or at yahoo.co.uk, it doesn't like those because it sometimes doesn't go through the DMARC authentications and things like that. So Mailchimp on their website have a whole list of reasons why soft bounces occur. So if you're interested, you can go to their website, type in soft versus hard bounces on Mailchimp help site, and it'll come up and you've got a whole load of reasons there. But it's ultimately saying that there's a temporary reason why that email is not getting through to the recipient. So some of the causes then, I have outlined some of them already, but if you're having a high level of cleaned people, on the cleaned ones, if there's a soft bounce, if it happens a number of times, it then goes into a hard bounce, they move it. So if it has a soft bounce because of inactivity, then it's 7. So it'll try 7 times and then it'll move it into a hard bounce. And it's up to 15 if they've had previous subscriber activity with you. If there's some kind of, they've interacted with you in some way, then they let it go for 15 soft bounces and then they move it into a hard bounce. So if you're getting high rates of bounces, there's a few reasons. Formatting errors is the biggest one. So just make sure that all of the email addresses are spelt correctly and that there's no errors or mistakes, particularly if you're inputting people's information into the system to manually add them. This can happen quite a lot. So just check for that. As I said about the DMARC, if you're using a free email service like a Hotmail or a Yahoo or something like that, then in order to stop fraudulent emails, then it depends on the DMARC policies of what they will let through. They sometimes don't like it if you're using Yahoo or Gmail or Hotmail or some kind of generic, because a lot of scammers and a lot of spammers use those kind of email addresses. So you might be better using a business address. So get yourself a, at your business name address, and that might be better. The other one is your audience is outdated. So with email deliverability, they really want you to be using people's addresses that are relevant, they're interested, they're not invalid, they've not been sat there a long time without being contacted, those sorts of stuff. If you've got a list and you haven't used it for ages and then all of a sudden you decide to use it again, then send a re-engagement campaign, a bit of a, are you still interested? Click here. Just make sure that people are still interested in the content that you're sending and you're not using an outdated old list, because ultimately you want people who are interested in your content and willing to read your content. It's no good having 10,000 subscribers full of people that don't actually open your emails, because that will do you harm in terms of your email deliverability. You're actually better off having a smaller list with people who are really interested rather than a huge list of people who are really inactive. So it might be that you just want to do a re-engagement campaign to say, hi, notice that you haven't looked at anything for a while. If you're still interested, click this link, and then you know that they're still interested. So yeah, that is some interesting reasons why I think I don't necessarily think people on a cleaned list is a bad thing. It's cleaning up your contacts and cleaning up your list, and we shouldn't be afraid of that, because you're going to lose people. If you're losing people that aren't interested and aren't opening your emails, then that's not a bad thing. I think it's worth having a look and just checking whether the spelling mistakes are in there and correcting those. And I think it's also good to do a re-engagement campaign, just to kind of say, hey, you know, would you like to be included or not? But if they do drop off because they've gone on to different things or they're not interested anymore, that's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. Just go out and you know, come up with some fantastic lead magnets, send them out there and get some more people on your list. Hope that's helped. And the Mailchimp website is great with their help features. So if you want any more details in terms of that, then do go to their website and on their help pages, and you can find out more information there. So that's it for this one. Thank you very much. And I will see you again in the next AMA.